I now have the privilege to introduce our alumni speakers who were all campus liaisons these last couple of years. First, I'm going to introduce Beau Schwarder. Beau recently graduated with an AA in anthropology and a bachelor's in cybersecurity from Columbia-Basin College. He has been the Columbia-Basin campus liaison for the past 2.5 years, and now he is ready to start this next chapter of his life. Fun fact, he just finished an amazing month-long cross-country road trip, and halfway through, he had to outrun Hurricane Helene. So I will definitely be asking for a little more story time. If you were in the coffee chat with us, you might have heard a little bit of it earlier, but we are glad to have you home and safe, Beau, and thank you for being here. Next up, we have Marisol Johnson, who has a diverse background in education, healthcare, social work. She is a Regent graduate from Heritage University with a BSW and certification as substance use and mental illness counselor. She has a passion for service and walking people through wholeness and healing in every part of their lives. Thank you, Marisol, for being here. And finally, one of my campus liaisons, the 2 years that I was a coordinator, is Myrah Ballentine, who studied political science and sociology from Tacoma Community College. She has been our TCC campus liaison for 2 years. She also kind of helped us out with UW-T in her role. So thank you for being here. She is currently has 2 elected positions with our state. She's on the Civil Service Board, position 3, and is one of the 27th Democratic delegates in the state. She currently works in the healthcare field, but hopes to go back to school next fall. Okay, so all 4 of you, can you start off by telling me how you first heard about WA-SEN and why you decided to join the team? We can start with Marisol.
Yeah, sure. I heard about WA-SEN during one of my social advocacy classes. I thought it would be a great organization to join. And so I actually joined just in time for Olympia Days 2 years ago now. And it was a fantastic decision to make. I felt like I grew and so much like being able to speak to local representatives and also having the opportunity to bring people along with me.
Thank you. Myrah, how did you first hear about WA-SEN?
So, hello everyone. I'm Myrah. I have been going to WA-SEN. It's been like 3 or 4 years now. I think this is my 4th year. My first year, I heard about WA-SEN through Candace Wheeler and Stephanie Tisby. Stephanie Tisby is also an alumni, and she recommended me for the events first, and then she actually was asking me if I was interested in taking her position as a liaison. So I heard it from Tacoma Community College's BSU. See some in the room, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Beau, how did you first hear about WA-SEN?
It was about 2.5 years ago. I started in the cybersecurity club, and Richie was the original coordinator, and he did this amazing speech and was talking about all these wonderful, great things and ways to make changes and for you to hear your voices through, the senators and Olympia days and like that. And since then, I've been in there, and it's changed my life in more ways than I can understand.
Thank you. Okay, next question is also for everyone, and we'll just do reverse round robin. So how did participating with WA-SEN shift or add to your knowledge of political civic engagement? Were there any stereotypes or misconceptions that you had that were resolved or maybe confirmed? Beau, you want to start us off?
It's a good and tough question, to be honest. Not through my knowledge or experience, really. I think that everything that he dealt with and accomplished was just easy going. I think the biggest thing through WA-SEN and everything like that, everybody listens to you. And that's one of the things I respect is they listen to your voice. Like we matter. And that's
Mhm.
one of the biggest things.
Thank you. Myrah? You're muted. Sorry.
I think the biggest thing was I was just really nervous. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know a lot about politics. So I felt like I was in like a new area. We didn't really talk about politics at home. We did sometimes, but um, my parents didn't, but my grandma did because my great grandma was a mayor in the Philippines. And one of my great uncles was also a judge. And so I didn't really know that. And they said I'm the one that has it on paper. So I just really nervous because especially when you don't know anything. Um, actually started with Kayla. And so Kayla actually gave me a lot of information. And Claire actually that is here. Hi, Claire. Claire actually when I was there with her and with uh as with Candace, sorry, get a little nervous, but they actually she told me about a program that I already knew about. She asked me if I ever thought about running. And funny part is that when I start running, I messaged her, and anytime I go to Olympia, she no matter how busy she is, she makes time, and it does really inspire me when I do run again for something else. And it's just nice to see those two people in the room that actually inspired me and were there when I spoke to Claire. Thanks. But very nervous. Still get nervous at times. So
Mhm.
Me too, girl. Marisol?
Yeah, like Myrah too, I didn't really have a lot of background or any background at all in any policy, politics, or anything. And so in the class, when I was introduced about WA-SEN during my program, um, I thought it would be a great opportunity to be able to do it, to learn in person, to network. And for me, it was a lot more comforting to be able to do it with other people. I don't think I would have ever requested a meeting with a representative by myself. And so the opportunity to be able to do it with others who had similar backgrounds as me in the area of not being involved in politics or speaking to representatives was comforting for me because I knew I wasn't alone. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Um, this next question is for you, Marisol. And I think you kind of allude to this nicely. Um, for those of you who are new, WA-SEN strives to ensure that student stories are heard in the decision-making process as a whole. So sometimes that's legislators, usually a lot of the time it's legislators, but sometimes it's also, big business names and people kind of making decisions for WA-SEN in the weeds. And those decisions directly affect you as a student. And Marisol has spoken at events with WA-SEN where legislators and key funders in our state were the audience. Can you describe what that experience was like for you and why it's important that we continue to have students show up in those spaces?
Yeah, absolutely. I just like you were kind of touching in, Lawson does such an incredible job at making you feel supported and helping to prepare you to speak in rooms like in Olympia Days and like other events that I had the opportunity to speak at. But I believe that it's important to amplify our voices as students in policy and decision making, especially because we get to speak from personal experience. Like we're walking through this now. It's not like 10 or 15 years ago, right? For representatives that are in office right now. So reflecting on that type of personal experience, speaking in front of legislators and key funders, like Kayla was mentioning, it can be empowering for us, but also challenging in the way of, like Myrah mentioned, of the nerves, right? But like I was mentioning, during the weekend of Olympia days, they do an incredible job with breakout rooms and helping you speak about your story and your personal experience, to represent students as a collective body to shape these policies and the real world outcomes. So for me, addressing those audiences is really about ensuring that policies don't miss the mark on what we as students are actually going through and what we need. So when students like ourselves speak directly to these policymakers, it adds a layer of authenticity but urgency to the needs that we have. It speaks directly to things that data alone can't capture. So it's essential for us to share our voices, to amplify our voices in those spaces, because our experience provides insight into how policy actually plays out in practice. And touching on even opening doors of opportunity, because I had the opportunity to speak, I've had different opportunities from representatives actually reaching out and helping them in creating and drafting policy. So yeah, it's really, really cool. But yeah, without our input, decisions might fail, and they may fail to address the problems that they're trying to solve. So
Thank you. Okay. With that, there are, opportunities outside of our events that we can ask you or invite you to come and speak, but Olympia Days is really our big spot that we bring out the most amount of people at what time, and you have direct meetings with legislators. So just because we're short on time, I'm going to leave this to Beau, if you don't mind giving us a little bit on kind of what your experience was like with Olympia Days. I know you touched on it before, but can you kind of, if you were to explain it to someone who's never been before, how would you explain Olympia Days?
Ooh, first I want to apologize. I'm not the greatest public speaker. It's definitely breathtaking. It's something that is an experience you'll never forget. You know, you're nervous, your heart's racing, you don't know what to ask, you don't know what to expect. But being part of WA-SEN in that group, everybody's like a family, so they're there comforting you, talking about the same questions or something relevant that you want to change in education or laws. And to meet different senators and to speak, it's something on a different level that you will never experience outside of your college uh, classroom. And it makes you stronger, it makes you more confident, and the things that you bring back home is life changing. Because the things that I've learned from Lawson and have got, the day I met Richie, my whole life basically changed what I could become and who I really am, find out what type of person I can be and achieve through Lawson. And now that I graduated, everything that, you know, we worked for and achieved and Lawson helped me achieve, I graduated and now I got a huge job. I leave on June 19th. I'll be uh, leaving on a train from Warsaw, Poland to head to Kiev, Ukraine, and working with Ukraine National Defense, doing IT and working with the military and their drones. Um, so, Boston played a huge part. And part of that was actually going to these Olympia days and learning and getting the experience I needed to become who I am today.
Thank you. Um, so Myrah, can you explain, sorry, I'm gonna go a little off script that I sent you guys. So you're doing great, Beau. I know you mentioned not being a, great public speaker. Well, I think you're doing great.
Thank you.
But Myrah, can you tell us a positive memory that you have from Olympia days? Is there anything that stands out to you?
I think my first time that I was in a group and we took a picture and just one of the legislators saying, "Hey, here's my phone number. Can you send me the picture?" And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "I can have your phone number?" Like, she's like, "I'm a person." So I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." So, um, and she's actually like in the 28th district, and she actually, Mari Levitt, she actually did my oath in the city council chambers. And so I became really good friends with a couple people, and it was really life changing. Because I think that sometimes when you go into these rooms, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to meet you," I forget that they're people just like us. And that's actually, it made me feel, especially she went to TCC and she was on the board, and for her just to reach out and say, "Here's my phone number. If you have any questions," I all day was like, "Look what I got." And so, because it was on her card. So I felt really honored. And it also was a great reminder that we're just people. And even though it's way higher than what I have, but it's still the same kind of processes to apply, it really humbles you to remember that in those rooms they're just people like us. And it's very heartwarming that someone actually gave me their phone number. So I all day, it was a whole Kayla knows, I told all day was messing with people. It's like, I look, because I got somebody's phone number. So yeah, that was
Right.
my
And whenever WA-SEN is like, "Hey, we need a guest speaker. Do you know anyone?" We go to Myrah and she makes it happen. So
Yeah, I also just
thank
wrote Mike. I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing on these 4 dates?" I can't give you the dates yet, but I did ask a couple people. And Beau, you did great. And I'm excited for
Thank
you.
you.
My son's actually in Korea, and so I'm watching everything, really nervous, because my son's in the military. And so just knowing people are out there, just like yourself, we appreciate you.
I appreciate it. It's something I never thought I'd do, but uh, everybody needs help, not just America. And I thought if I could put my degree to use, then I might as well put it somewhere that's needed.
Yeah, make sure you give us your info. Shoot me your
Oh,
info so I can give it. We can send, like, letters or care packages.
well, I appreciate that, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so next question. What advice, words of wisdom, or encouragement would you give to students who are new to WA-SEN and are hearing about Olympia Days for the first time and thinking about joining us? You want to start us off, Marisol?
Yeah, sure. My encouragement to you is do it, go for it. Just like we were all kind of touching and mentioning on, it really is life-changing and it adds so much, not only in the networking, but just building relationship, building rapport with each other, like having the opportunity to just reach out, like Kayla was mentioning to Myrah. I know I've reached out to Kayla multiple times, like, "Hey girl." Um, but yeah, you build long-lasting friendships, um, and you get to have the opportunity to practice some things, practice public speaking, leaning into awkward a little bit, but knowing that everyone else is doing it with you and growing together. So,
Thank you. Um, Beau and Myra, do you have anything to add? Or I can go to the next question.
Maybe you can find your voice like I did. I always knew that I wanted to do something. I'm not sure what my voice is. I'm still working on it, still growing up at my age. But I actually really felt like I was at home, talking to people and standing up for people. I do that in my volunteer work. And so it really gives you a sense. You never know till you try it. And I speak at times and I get nervous. I would have never met Marisol or Kayla. Kayla is one of my closest friends. And she was even nervous too. So I mean, look at you, just talking, public speaking over here. And so these tools has really humbled me and helped me also. And I know that there are times that hey, it's a free night stay at first, some food and there's friendship, but you also get to talk and you get to hear about what's going on at other schools that you don't hear in the news, or you don't know what's going on with the other people. And I really have admired some of the Joel Anderson. It was part of WA-SEN. He's actually helped me with my campaign too, with phone numbers and stuff. And so those small friendships, you never know where they could go. And I know Marisol, I'm excited to see you. I'm like, I haven't seen you since Olympia days, and you're going to find out so much more. And then also you can find out if your school has like a legislative day. You'll find out if WSA has one. And I actually met them through WA-SEN. And so not just making friendships, but making those connections to see where else you could be to use, or just to get information. It's really helpful. And it's really humbling too, to know that other people are fighting for the same things that you are. It's not just you. It's all of us. And even if you're not fighting for something, you might know someone that needs something. You might hear some information, or maybe a legislator, they had no idea what was going on. And so it's very not just empowering, it's actually something that you might actually find that suits you, and especially where I am at. And so I found my voice, and I hope you find yours in whatever that you do. Thank you.
Not much to add on that. I think what they said was very perfect. You know, one of the things about doing that, you get a lifelong connection, and you just get so many experiences just with that first day that you'll never get. So I highly suggest that you take the advantage of, and just remember, it's going into this. Don't think of it as of what do I get in return, but more of what are you going to get out of it when you actually participate and bring your thoughts and answers to the table for everybody else and make it your long lifetime goals.
Thank you. So I know it's come up in some of the breakout rooms that I bounced around in. If you attend Olympia days, it usually falls at least on one school day. So can you guys speak to how you ensured that you did not fall behind in your classwork? And were professors encouraging of you? Did you have pushback? Can you kind of speak on that experience?
For me, the faculty were very encouraging and supportive of me going, and the group of like 6 students that came with me this last year. So it was just my classes were in the evening. I still missed them, but like I said, they were encouraging. They gave me a Zoom option to attend on the drive back from Olympia days. But yeah, I didn't miss out on anything or get behind on anything either.
I'm here. Well, the instructors were great. Always tend to keep up anyway, but one of the things that I had on my back was Senator Matt Banky. He wasn't just a senator, but he was also my instructor. So he said, anything you need, you could take a week or 2 weeks to catch up. And the greatest thing he did was he said he would inform the other instructors, knowing what kind of progress we're trying to make in this world. So it was never a burden. It was a great feeling that I knew people were watching me and watching over me, knowing that this is something that needs to be done and that they have my back.
Yeah, well, for myself, I messaged my teachers, and I did ask one in person. But also, if you have accommodations, I do have extra time. Um, but if you explain to them what you're doing, and then I asked, hey, can I give out some flyers in my class? Um, or can I forward my that the person that is in charge of like the coordinator, can I give them our coordinator's info so they can maybe talk in our classroom? I know we were able to talk in a classroom. Kayla, I think it was a year or two ago, but you might even get like your school might not have an event and one class like, hey, can they come to your class? So I mean, also there's that too. Teachers are really excited about this kind of stuff, and so you never know if a teacher says no, that's okay. But also you could just say, hey, this is what it's for, and usually it's they get really excited, or they might want to know more, and that's the reason why we had Kayla come to our classroom, and so. Um, yeah, there's all different ways, and also I was letting them know that I do have the tent. So if anybody needs a tent, I have one at my house in my car. So when you do go on campus. So yeah, thanks.
Okay, great. We also, sorry, had a brain pause. WA-SEN does provide excusal letters or letters to explain kind of what the event is. If anyone is thinking about it but worried about a class coming up, we can provide like official paperwork for you to show your professors as well. And I'm gonna open this question up to all of you as well, because you all have experience with being a campus liaison. And as you know, WA-SEN hires liaisons year round, and our coordinators are actively looking for liaisons right now. Can you speak to what that means? What is a campus liaison, and what was the experience like for you?
Okay,
Whoever
I go
wants to
first.
start.
At first when I was first asked if I was interested in being liaison, I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can juggle this, working full time, going to school full time. But I surprisingly, it was so just easy. It blended in so well. Um, I also was able to, being the liaison, really tie in WA-SEN to the social work program that I was in so effortlessly. So in doing tabling events, the social work club actually supported me to do that, and it made it a lot more like fun. There was a lot of fun that was involved in it, and I think that even during Olympia days, that was really just the big event that they needed more. WA-SEN needed more like helping with communication and making sure students had what they needed. But it was so much fun, and I'm so glad that I did it.
You want me to go next? I can go next. Okay, so the first time I became a liaison, I think I signed up like in November. It was kind of late, like a little bit, it was like next month. It was kind of around the time that we were gonna have a town hall. So I was a little nervous, had no idea what a liaison was, but Kayla walked me through it. And so she was like, we can come to your school, like, and then we can if you could just give me some information. So like even though not knowing anything, she was like, who can I contact? So having some contact information available, um, making sure you ask your coordinator, like, what do you need? And it's really neat. Your coordinator actually will help you out, even the regional coordinators, like no matter if you might not know anything, but just, hey, I just need this person's email. So it's pretty easy, but you also get to know who is running stuff at your school. Like what information do I need to give you? And so just having even though you might not know anything, it's nice. I got, you get a stipend, not only that, and you also get to learn more. That way, if you have that time when it's town hall or information sessions, you'll find out more so you can speak to other students or maybe invite a friend. It just starts with giving one piece of information and you become that link to your school. And it's really neat, actually. It's a lot of fun. Um, Kayla came and did a table, spoke at the Senate meeting, and she spoke in class in a classroom, and she also was able to attend events for one of the clubs that I used to run. And so not only is it fulfilling, it's kind of neat because you get to be part of, not only are you a student, you're also trying to find people that have the same mindset and have the same drive as you. And you guys go up there together and it's really fun. So being a liaison was, I stayed the liaison for 2 years, and I built relationships not only with WA-SEN, but with people at my school. And so even if you're really shy, if and it's really hard for you, you're just getting information. And you're just that link. So even though I was a little shy, Kayla came in and just she was like, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do," and people were excited. We had prizes and a lot of I was pretty surprised that a lot of people came to Olympia Days on my first year. So it's really fulfilling. And we have those positions posted too, right? Or do you have a link that you can put in the chat just in case you
Yeah.
guys might know someone at a different campus?
Yeah, I can drop that in the chat. And I think it's good to note that, I mean, you guys, at least from who we've heard from so far, you were both involved in other stuff that were already doing things, and that really helped, helped you bring WA-SEN up to your campus. And yeah. Beau?
Yeah, I think it was great. Richie walked me through every step, and watching him speak and everything was amazing. He's just a phenomenal speaker, and he just pulls in people. And um, then I got nervous. He had the games, little snacks, and all these handouts. Um, and then he goes, "Okay, now it's your turn to start asking people about Watson." I'm like, "Me? I haven't taken public speaking yet. That's next quarter. You want me to do it now?" Me? But I learned a lot, and it really, uh, once I got the gist of it and how he did things so professional, it made me a better person, and I felt so confident. Then I started doing it, and then Rich and I worked together just even when we weren't doing the tables. We would talk about it in Cyber Club, or I would talk about it to people that were in my classes, and it just became such a routine, knowing that, hey, that there's this wonderful gift out there that can help you and change you and make a better future for you and other students, current students. So yeah, I think that was one of the blessings that I got out of being a liaison. That I said that wrong, sorry. So if you're interested, I highly suggest you do it because you will not regret it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is
You're
there
welcome.
any questions in the chat? Or in the audience? Would anyone like to ask our wonderful alumni some questions? If you would like to ask a question, you can raise your hand. The react at the bottom of your screen has an arrow up that you can raise your hand with.
Oh, Zoom has effects now.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
on you.
wow. We can't, Zoom just came up in the little.
Hi. Hello. I was just wondering, like, throughout your experiences, was there any point where you felt a little bit overwhelmed or like a little bit stretched thin? And what did you do to combat that feeling and manage?
I think a lot of times I felt that way. I was also the Asian Pacific Islander Club president, student senator. I was part of BSU, WASN, and I've had either 3 kids at home at one point, 2 kids. And I just took a deep breath and like I don't know, that's how me and Kayla became friends. She was in school too. So it's a couple times we just complain. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. And then, all of a sudden, just having someone to talk to, especially that's a student that understands like what you're going through. So just having someone to talk to, and that's how I got through it is talking, because it's hard sometimes when you're a student and you have friends that aren't students. And so having the liaison role is a small role. So I never got stressed out with that, because all I need to give her was some information. But with school and being part of so many groups, I sometimes I forgot to take a step back. But um, then I would just talk to other students about what they did, or I would just turn my phone off and just figure it out. It is hard sometimes, but when you have people that you could talk to that are in the same boat, um, that's I think that's really helpful. I think me and Kayla had a couple uh crying sessions at one point, and I visited each other at each other's jobs. And she showed up to every event that I invited her to, and I didn't have to do any work. She did it. So, if it's overwhelming for you, she took over many times.
But okay. Also, because I think that's good. I think that's a good note, though, of like back to your point of to start out as a liaison, you don't have to have any prior experience. And that's where your coordinators come in, and you don't have to do that until you feel prepared or we know you're ready to do it. We're not just gonna throw you out there by yourself. And so yeah, I mean, it made it easy that TCC is really close to where I live. I'm stationed in Tacoma, so it was just a 5-minute drive, but that's also kind of the culture that we're trying to build with coordinator liaison positions, is that you have someone to help you figure it out and for you to go into it feeling prepared. Yes. Thank you, Marisol, Myrah, and Beau. Thank you so much for coming back and joining us.